Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. It's that time of the month again, time for another garden tour. I have Nutmeg and Saffron out with me today. Saffron is somewhere running around. I'm sure you'll see her eventually in the video. The garden is doing okay. We did lose some things with the heat, but fall is coming and I'm really excited about the plans that I have for the garden. So let's get to the garden tour. There's nothing really to report with my trees. They're all done producing for the year, but I have some things going on in the pepper beds. The sweet banana is really taking off right now with peppers. I could probably eat these. They haven't started turning orange yet, but could probably eat them. I also have quite a few of this pepper ripening. It's called Pathfinder. I don't know if it's hot or sweet. I've never had it before, but that is doing really well. I also have some peppers growing here, and I don't really know what kind of plant this is, but it is starting to look like Tabasco maybe. So I didn't need another Tabasco plant, but it's fine. There's also a parasitic wasp just chilling on this plant right now, so I'm gonna leave him be. I also have marigolds and thyme doing really well. Still need to pull up this cabbage because I really don't think the cabbage is going to be good from it, but I don't know. It hasn't really been in the way, so I've left it there for now. I also have my shishitos that are not doing well at all. Not really sure why. This bed, just peppers hate it. And then these three I thought were shishitos, but I finally got a pepper, and that's a bell. So I have 6 shishitos and 3 bells. I thought I had 9 shishitos in here, but that's okay. I love bell peppers. They're just a little bit tougher to grow because they take so much energy just to get one pepper out of it, but it's fine, you know? We'll get at least a pepper out of that there. And then in the main pepper bed, Nutmeg is checking something out over here, being really cute. I have this crazy pepper. This is Aji Rico. And the production on this plant has been crazy all summer long. So I'm very pleased with how this did. This was an overwintered pepper. I mean, there are just peppers everywhere. We'll be trying to save this next year, though there is no central stem on this plant, which is why it looks like a crazy trailing house plant right now. But hopefully I can save it because I am obsessed. They're not really that spicy either, just a little bit of a kick. So they're a really good all-around versatile pepper to have. I have some leeks that are growing really well. I just planted one in the ground over there recently. My lemon drops have been starting to get ready to harvest. I've harvested a few. My Anaheim chilies are almost ready, which I'm very excited about. They're starting to turn color. I have more Tabascos growing here as well. I haven't gotten a Cubanella in a while. I have been harvesting some scapes from my chives. These are ready. I have let a couple go to flower just to save some seeds. My Mucho Nacho Jalapeno is also doing really well. I have been harvesting peppers from it. I've been waiting mostly for them to turn red before I harvest them. And my candy cane bells haven't been doing the best over here. I think they're getting a bit drowned out by this milkweed. As much as the bees love it, I might remove this milkweed because it's just stealing all of the resources from this side of the bed, no matter how much I water it. So I think it's gotta go. I do have other milkweed in the yard, most notably over here, growing in the middle of my blackberry bushes, and I don't think it's going to steal enough resources from the blackberries to be a problem, so I'd rather have the milkweed there than over here. It's just tough because there's bees all over it. They just really love it, but I don't know. It's not working out right here, and it's taking away from my peppers, which is what I really want. I love my variegated candy cane peppers, so I think the milkweed's gotta go. Next to it, I have my herb bed. It's doing really well with the more frequent watering. I'm bringing my purple sage back to life. The rosemary, the green sage are doing great. There is a giant swallowtail just chomping away at my fennel seeds, which is fine, I guess. I finally chopped back all of the flowering parts of my oregano, and it is coming back really well. I'm very happy with all of the growth on it. I think it's going to be even bigger this year. I don't know if this bed can handle that, but at least it's growing really well. I have been using it again since it's no longer flowering for some dishes. The other herb bed also doing fairly well. The lemongrass looks great. I also chopped back the flowers on the oregano here and it's growing back. And I have my black sesame over here, which is doing very well. This plant really took off in this bed, much better than last year even. And I do have a lot of pods, so I should be able to get some sesame soon. I really love the flowers on this plant. I think it's just gorgeous. It's just such a pretty plant to grow, even if you don't grow it for these seeds. The flowers are great, so I really enjoy having this plant around. Behind it, I have my asparagus, Swiss chard, which I'm just kind of letting go for the summer, and basil. Not too much to report here. Obviously not harvesting any asparagus right now. Maybe in the fall I will harvest some more, but just letting it go, letting it do its thing. It's not really producing any new spears when the weather is so hot, so I just let it go, and it looks like a giant weed, but that's okay. There's also not much to report about the carrot bed. Slowly going through all of the carrots that have been growing. I'm finally starting to see patches where I might be able to plant something else other than carrots this fall. That's the goal really, is to just eat through as many carrots as I can. Kale is crazy. I think I'm finally going to chop it off at the end of this winter because it's just gotten a little too big. You know, I can't really keep up with it when it gets to this crazy size. So I think I'm going to start over and do some new kale plants next year. The strawberries have not been faring well, so I might move them out of this bed because there's not much left in here. This is pretty sad, and I might do something else entirely in here. Tomatillos are doing okay. I think the heat is really starting to get to them. That one I'm pretty sure is dead, but I have gotten a lot of tomatillos. There's more that are ready. This one has a chunk taken out of it, unfortunately, but there's quite a few that I've been able to harvest this year, and I'm going to be making some salsa soon, so I'm very excited with the harvest I got there. The tomatoes are still a mess. I know this is just not a good tomato year for me, but I do have more that are coming. I have some yellow pear that I've been growing, so that's doing well. Oh, there's one that's almost orange up here at the sun gold, so it's kind of got ebbs and flows. Unfortunately, just not the best year for tomatoes for me. The Thai basil, on the other hand, is doing great. It has even self-seeded, and I have little baby Thai basil plants everywhere. I didn't think they would seed that quickly, but you know, it's fine. Sweet potatoes are doing great. I'm really hoping to have a wonderful harvest this year, but we still have a couple months before I dig into this bed. More tomatoes that are just not doing well over here. I'm hoping maybe as the weather cools, I get a tomato out of this plant, but I think I just need to give up on growing large tomatoes in Texas. It's just too hot, and cherries do better. So I think next year I'm going to exclusively grow cherry tomatoes. This basil is insane though. I mean, I feel like that plant is almost as big as me. So I'm very proud of how the basil's doing. I didn't plant as many this year, but I had a lot of volunteers. This one I did plant, and it honestly looks like a tree. If you just look at the trunk, it is so woody. It will die in the winter, even though it's looking really woody right now. It's gonna be a pain to take out of the bed. Once they get this big, it's very hard to rip them out, but I am enjoying the basil for now. This is just one of the highlights of the garden, as well as this rosemary plant, which is doing so well. It's almost taken over this bed. I do have a volunteer avocado growing in it, which I will be removing from here when we get close to a freeze, because I don't think it would survive that. But you know, it's just an avocado that came up. I also have some volunteer basil, a volunteer marigold that I did not plant in here, more basil, and I did plant some squash seeds, so maybe those will come up soon, but for now there's really nothing else going on in here. Over here I have my watermelons. There are a few growing. So there's two right here and one here. I don't know which variety exactly these are. I did harvest about 9 already this season, so quite a fair amount. I also have so many vincas that I just didn't have the heart to pull up because they're so stinking cute. And I love all of the color diversity I have with these plants. There's just so many. I did not plant a single one of these. They're all volunteer from seed last year. I also have my one tomato that doesn't look great but is doing really well. This is the white currant tomato. They're just very small little cherry tomatoes that turn this whitish yellow color when they're ripe, and they are super tasty. They grow really well despite the heat, and I'm very happy with their production this year. So I think I will be planting more of these next year because they're doing so well. Next to the watermelons, I have another basil. I did plant this one. Did not plant these. This is where my corn was. It's all done now. I've ripped it all up. I think I'm going to do another round of corn this year, but I just need to wait slightly longer for a little bit cooler temperatures. We are going to get out of the 90s after next week, so I'm very excited about that. More fennel that I'm saving for seeds, though there are some that I think I can harvest. I'm waiting to see if maybe my eggplant will do well enough to give me something this year. I have that one and a couple over there. And then my cucumbers, half of them died and I ripped them out. The other half are still alive, but they're not producing right now. I just think it's too hot. So I did plant a couple more seeds. I'm hoping with the weather cooling down, I might be able to get some more cucumbers. Most cucumbers only take 55 or so days to be ready to harvest. So I'm just hoping I have enough time, and we'll see if they sprout up. I planted them over the weekend, so we'll just see what happens. You know, it's not really a lose situation if nothing happens, because I already got a bunch of cucumbers this year, but I'm just hoping to extend my season if I can. And finally, the last couple of beds are, of course, my beans. And a saffron, I guess, wants to say hello. Hi, sweetie. Hi. She loves it out here before it gets hot. So she's having a great time. Good girl. So these are the red noodle beans. I have quite a few of them right now. Unfortunately, they just don't look as good as they did last year because of the aphid pressure. So I'm trying my best. I still have been getting a lot of beans. The green noodle beans have fared a lot worse. So I did plant new ones. I think there's a little one down there. And then over the weekend, I planted more of both varieties so that hopefully I'll just get another crop that looks healthier as the weather starts to cool a little bit. But I guess I need to harvest these right now. We have gotten so many this year, so even though the plants don't look great, production has still been pretty good with the exception of these. The red ones have still done fairly well. I don't know why. They've had the exact same care. I don't know why these died off more than these did, but it's okay. We got a lot this year. We're still getting them. Some of these are coming back. They're just little spots of growth, so I'm not going to rip them out. I'm just going to plant more and hopefully they'll just all grow up together. I obviously have a lot more vincas as well. This one is super cute. This is the new one I got this year, so I'm hoping it self-seeds a lot and mixes in here with everything. I have kohlrabi back here, but I don't think it's going to be good. It just sat out here all summer. I think it's going to be very woody, so I'll probably just rip this up when I'm going to plant something new. I did almost forget my cayenne pepper bed. It has been doing very well. I recently harvested a lot of the peppers, but this one is the one I overwintered, and it's just so much bigger and healthier than the other plants. They're all doing great, but this one is just so much farther superior to the other plants. It's got a lot of production. I just harvested, so I don't think there's any that are totally red. Oh, this one just came off. But it's been doing really well. This is known for being a skinny cayenne, so it's not gonna quite look like some of the others do, but this plant has been great. The overwintered peppers, this one, the Mucho Nacho, and the Aji Rico have just done worlds better than the other plants. So I'm going to try to overwinter a lot more peppers this year, or even start some seeds in the fall and then overwinter those new plants, which is actually what I did with the Aji Rico. And I just I cannot get over how beautiful and healthy this plant looks. I'm gonna try to overwinter these 3 again as well. I'm gonna take the healthiest, best looking plants from this season and overwinter them. If there's some that aren't doing well, I just don't see the point of doing that with them. But I wanted to highlight this plant in particular because it's just been doing so well. Here's a nice red one. So that's what this looks like. It's called long thin cayenne. They're very small cayenne peppers. I think they're great. I think they're adorable. I really like growing it, and it's just been doing really well. Finally, behind the red noodle beans, I have more volunteer basil that I did not plant. It's just taking over. I did rip up most of the parsnips as they were ready. A couple rotted actually, because they're a little bit past ready. And I have been slowly harvesting my scallions, which I didn't know they could get this big. This almost looks like a leek, but I promise it's not. It's actually a scallion, also known as green onions or bunching onions. I will be planting a lot more of these in the fall. I planted these, I think, in January of this year, and I planted a whole row. So I've been slowly harvesting them. They don't seed well in the summer for me, but they seed really well when the weather's cooler, and they withstand all of the summer heat once they're established enough. So I think that's going to be my plan of attack for these for next year. Just really enjoying being able to harvest these. I have not bought a scallion in so long, and these are the size probably of about 3 of the ones you would get at the grocery store. So if I have a recipe that needs multiple, I'll go and harvest a big one. Here's a more normal sized one right here, but they've been wonderful. So I really enjoyed growing them in the garden. Come on, Safi. You wanna come say hi? That's my pretty girl. Okay, so finally I have just a couple of plants over here. It has been so tough keeping this blueberry plant alive, but I do have new growth. A lot of the older leaves that it came with just died off from the heat. I'm just hoping I can keep this alive and growing to maybe get some blueberries next year. The tag keeps moving. I also have my African blue basil that I overwintered. It's doing really well, and there is a milkweed in here somewhere. Yeah, down there. There is a milkweed. I've been attempting to keep this avocado alive that I found in my compost, but it's just not going over well. I think just because it was growing in the compost and transplanting it didn't work out the best, but we'll see. The other one's doing well, so maybe I'll just save that one. And then finally, I have some seeds growing out here. It's mostly just leeks because I really want to get more of those in the ground, and it's just too hot to be planting anything else for fall out here. So I can keep growing leeks, so that's what I have growing from seed right now. All right, that is it for our garden tour today. It is starting to get pretty hot out, and we want to go inside because it's not quite fall yet, but it's coming, hopefully. Hopefully the weather is dropping, and I'm really excited about the plans that I have for out here, all the things that are coming, because fall is truly the best time to garden in Texas. So I really can't wait for it. I'm so excited to get some new things in the ground. But if you like this video, make sure to give Nutmeg and I here a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.